So, you go to a dealer and buy a brand new, shiny, top performance superbike, like a Ducati Panigale or a BMW or 1000RR, not like my junky 10 years old Ninja. Then you spend thousands on the exhaust and mapping to get more power, only to have a tiny electronic sensor cut it the moment you open the throttle. Do you enjoy that flashing TC light on your dash? You think it's saving your life? It surely does, but it's killing your lap times at the same time. Why? Because you're letting the bike ride you instead of you riding the bike. If you want to actually go fast, you need to understand why your electronics are your biggest bottleneck. I'm Mike, your professional motorcycle racing instructor from Poland. And today I'm giving you 8 things you need to know if you want to stop wasting your time when accelerating out of corners. Let's get straight to it. Part 1. Brake to accelerate faster, the countermeasure. If the bike wheelies when you accelerate out of the corner or when you go through a hill, slightly touch the rear brake with your foot just before it happens. Don't close the gas, don't let the anti-wheelie slam the front end down, just gently touch the rear brake prior to the wheelie. That will squat the bike, stopping it from going into the air. But be careful with your first tries, okay? It's a precise tool, not a hammer. Use like 5 or 10% of your strength. Just touch it, not squeeze it all the way down. Part 2. Short shifting technique. If you're already high on revs, close to the end of the power band, going downhill or simply lacking traction so you know it will spin the wheel soon, it's much better to upshift just before the unwanted happens, either wheelie or a power slide. That way, you'll keep the bike accelerating gently thanks to a bit lower torque and it being completely under your control. Part 3, 4 and 5. The human component, body physics. Don't fight the bars, relax your grip. If you pull on the handlebars during acceleration, you induce speed wobbles and fight the bike's natural geometry, getting exhausted in the process. The tank is the major point of your grip. Squeeze it with your legs so you don't hold yourself to the handlebars. Having a decent tank grips make it easier to do without using a lot of strength. Get your weight low and forward. Lean on the tank and keep your weight on the pegs. Stand up slightly, don't rest on the seat like on a couch. This lowers the center of gravity and prevents the front from lifting, while also helping the rear suspension do its job. Smooth is fast. Aggressive riding triggers electronics and upsets the bike. Fluid ride, on the other hand, builds mechanical grip and consistency by acting consciously. Be smooth and plan your next move in advance. Part 6 and 7. Trajectory and lean angle. The think ahead strategy. In order to get on the gas and open it 100% as soon as possible, you need to pick the lines wisely. Make sure you properly analyze a given racetrack's optimal trajectory for your type of bike and always use the whole racetrack's width. Well, almost always. Sometimes it's not worth it actually. At times, you need to sacrifice the first corner to be able to get out of the second one perfectly. This one is not so obvious and schematic. You'll need to discover your own way through. Taking the correct lines allows you to pick the bike up sooner, to the center of the tire where the traction is at its finest. Powerful bikes need it the most. Although, sometimes it's worth keeping the bike leaned over just a little bit for as long as possible when accelerating out of the corner, even doing some S-shapes on the straight. You can see it in MotoGP for example, but amateurs and semi-pros like me do it as well. It gives 2 positive outcomes. A. The bike is still planted to the ground and doesn't wheelie, thanks to the centrifugal force. And B. Riding on a smaller wheel radius makes it easier to accelerate, decelerate and turn, while keeping the engine at higher RPMs. It's like changing your gearing on the fly. Furthermore, still providing a decent amount of traction, but not full, so still reducing the friction between the tire and the asphalt as much as possible. And here, the less power the bike has, the more it can be leaned over on a given turn's exit. But of course, it varies on many additional factors. Part 8. The geometry hack. The setup. If your bike is really aggressive, often lifting the front wheel, and it's hard to make it turn, consider lowering it a little bit on the forks. It will make the bike more stable under acceleration and easier to turn in, but it will be doing stopping more often, making it harder to brake as effectively. I've got my Ninja lowered by a 17mm and it's perfect for me as is. But be careful, because it impacts the front and rear tire grip distribution, stressing out the front tire more, while additionally lowering the bike's clearance. Also, make sure that the rear suspension is not too soft. It would give the same effect of very light front the moment you start accelerating. Another great way to make the bike more stable and less wheelie prone is extending your chain with an additional chain link, even to the point where the chain wear marker shows that it's like too long if you need it that way. The farther the wheel is to the back, the more planted the bike is gonna be, but it will turn a bit harder. And remember, there's always a compromise in whatever you do, not only with your riding technique, but with your bike's setup as well. And so, now you know how to handle the traction consciously. But since we are in a golden era of AI, I'd like to make a copyright statement. What you just heard is 100% my work, based on my 20 years of experience as a rider, racer and instructor. Now I'm sharing that knowledge with you online for free. All I ask from you for this dose of knowledge is a big thumbs up and all your dubs and thoughts written in the comments. That will motivate me to make the next video. I really want this channel to grow into a big tribe of advanced racing enthusiasts. If you wish though, you can also buy me a virtual cup of coffee. It will make my day. The link is in the description. Thanks. In case you're curious, just the script took me around 10 hours to prepare it, give or take. Writing from my heart and brain connected. I wanted to make this clear. It's like minus 10 degrees Celsius when I'm recording this video. As you can see, I'm getting more and more serious with the topics covered from now on, and also getting a little more comfortable in front of the camera. The next Sunday, we'll talk about the proper in-corner braking. If you don't want to miss that video, make sure to subscribe. If you're watching this later in time, that clip will be proposed as the next one to watch right here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Cheers, Mike.